Good. It's good to start with a happy audience. I can see the smile in your face, so that's great. Shall we begin? My name is Ravi Pashankar. I am a member of National Innovation Council, led by my Roundtable friend, philosopher and guide, Sam Pitroda. I'm sorry to have missed the morning session. I understand from everyone that I've talked to that it was an exhilarating session with lots of ideas and very, very wonderful interactions. We have now a very fascinating session on Gandhi and social innovation. I've been given the honor of chairing this particular session. We have two extraordinarily distinguished speakers, but the basic idea is going to be lots of interaction, lots of questions, lots of journey. So we'll provide enough time for that journey. I'll begin by saying that Gandhi means different things to different people. As a father of the nation, a leader, a decolonizer, a freedom fighter, creator of the movement of non-violence, a man who lived his ideas, one who could say my life is my message, a man who was involved in self-discovery in an unending way, did unending experiments with truth and made impossible possible. That is the man that we are talking about. And in the spirit of the agenda for the day today, which is a global innovation agenda, we are going to focus on the aspects of innovation when it came to Gandhi and what are the lessons that we can learn. Very briefly, I will introduce the speakers, but before that, let me tell you a bit of a story with regard to a book that I had the fortune of editing and releasing on 2nd October last year, which is the Gandhi Jayanti Day. This was done by Mohan Dharia, who is one of the last of the Gandhians. He is 87 and a great grand man of India, great son of India. The story there is a very interesting one. I remember 4 years ago I was honored with a fellowship by the Australian Academy, and they wanted me to speak on innovation. And I found that in 40 years they did not honor any other Indian, so I came to the conclusion that they don't know enough about India because there are hundreds of people who are better than me. So I said I must tell them something that about innovation and about India. So the title of my talk was Indian Innovation from Gandhi to Gandhian Engineering. And I introduced to them the social innovation that Gandhi did, but also coined this term on Gandhian engineering. And the origin of that was a very simple one. I said, what does engineering do? It gets more from less. Mainframe computer used to occupy the size of this room, and today we carry hundreds of thousands of times more power in a small device like this. That is getting more from less. But does it mean that it is available for more and more people? No. Right? And more from less for more is something that industrial enterprises always do. They get more from less for more profit, more value to the shareholder. Can we also get it for more and more people? Can we do the two things together? I think that was the basic message. Just for effect, we called it as Gandhi engineering, but it became very popular. And what became even more popular was getting more from less or more. MLM, as they used to, as they started calling it. It ended up with a meeting by the World Economic Forum on MLM. CII, the Confederation of Indian Industries, having a full day session on MLM. And the word Gandhi engineering, Gandhi innovation got more currency when I had the fortune of partnering with C.K. Prandar, who is no more, unfortunately, a great thought leader of India, and a paper in Harvard Business Review that was called Innovation's Holy Grail, getting more from less to more, where we showed how in India, because we have this fantastic combination of scarcity and aspiration, scarcity on one hand, aspiration on the other, we lead in what you might like to call as frugal engineering, creating products which are not necessarily less for less, but more for less, giving high performance at a low price, which can impact the lives of so many people. And after that, I'm a member of the Gandhi, trustee of the Gandhi National Memorial Society. We had the 30th celebration last year, and we thought of meeting people and asking them as to what does Gandhi mean for them, as far as the 21st century is concerned. And you know, I approached a large number of people, the leaders from industry, from academia. I mean, you name them, many of them are here, who wrote in the book. And it's amazing, I had said 50 invitations to iconic achievers of India, 46 of them wrote. It is not that the 4 did not write, they were not in time for my book to come out, my edited book to come out by suppose. So this is that book on timeless inspiration. And a lot that we are going to discuss today in terms of Gandhian social innovation, a completely different way of looking at these. You will find a number of thoughts that have been expressed here. I thought I'll just begin by introducing this idea of reading Gandhi that came up just a year ago. I would straight away get to our speakers, introduce them, and begin our dialogue, I would say, on the subject. First of all, we have Sri Anupam Mishra. It's not Mishra, it's Mishra. You know, they say good things should be repeated. Exactly 7 days ago, on the 7th, Anupamji got the Jamnalal Bajaj Award, an application of Science and Technology. You know, by coincidence, I was the chairman of that Science and Technology Innovation Award Committee, and I had the pleasure and the privilege of reading out a citation from Mishra. Literally, one realized that from 7th to 14th, within a week, I'll be again speaking about it. You know, I think sometimes you really get lucky. So I got lucky today. Well, we call him the water guru of India. His work on smart water management, then promoting the traditional rainwater harvesting is truly pioneering. He opened up policy discussions to the philosophy that govern the relationship of the society with their physical environment, not just civil engineering and social engineering and so on and so forth, fundamentally. His book, Aaj Bhi Hai Tara, had a record sale and a record impact. And actually, just by reading that book, people have been so influenced that there are 5,000 large and small water bodies that have been created just by that. You can see the kind of influence the man has had. He, of course, joined Gandhi's Foundation in 1971, so it's 4 decades of great life and great work that we are witnessing in the form of Anupam. And by the way, coming to peace, something going beyond water, he was the one who was involved in the negotiations with the Chambal Dacoit, again a part of the peace process. The Chipko movement, you know, where you hug a tree, that particular movement which created sort of a new paradigm in the dialogue on environment, he was the one who made it popular. So indeed, we have an extraordinarily eminent speaker today. Give him a big hand. And then, I don't know, if I ask Sam, should I introduce him, he would immediately say no. But I'm going to exercise my right as a chairman. Sam. Sam has been an old friend. I remember I learned a lot by sitting next to him when we were both members of the Science Advisory Council to the Prime Minister in Mr. Rajiv Gandhi's time. He told us what technology can mean for India, the telecom revolution that you see. He was the father of that. He taught us how to work in a mission mode to deliver things. It is not the power of idea, it is the power of execution. You keep on telling us. So whether it was literacy mission, water mission, health mission, made a huge impact. There is a chairman of Knowledge Commission, created new paradigms on our human talent creation and promotion, and has been a great entrepreneur, a great innovator, a very astute policy designer, a great communicator, and most importantly for me, Sam, you are a great human, a wonderful human being. Now, you already know. Please absolutely feel to clap whenever you can. A clap and a smile, doesn't cost you anything. So let's hear lots of claps during this talk. And now, of course, you are all here because he is the chairman of National Innovation Council. This was his brainchild to have today's roundtable. And I'm delighted to tell you that the decade of innovation, the Indian decade of innovation, is something that we are designing under Sam's leadership. So you have these two great speakers. So the idea is Anupam will go first, he will speak, then Sam will speak, and then we will have a dialogue. I have Professor Anil Gupta here, who is the father of grassroots innovation movement in India. You have heard him already. He drives the National Innovation Foundation, he created the National Innovation Foundation, and he's going to help us because Anupam is going to speak in Hindi. And we didn't deprive those who do not know Hindi to be deprived of his thoughts. So he will facilitate the translation in English as we basically go around. That's the innovation that we'll be doing to reach out to you. So with those few words, may I invite you to share your thoughts. Thank you very much.
आप सबको नमस्कार। हिंदी में बोलने के लिए माफ़ी चाहता हूँ, कुछ साथी जो नहीं समझ पाएंगे, अनिल भाई मदद करेंगे। आजकल तो सब लोग SMS वाले हैं, इसलिए छोटी छोटी चीज़ें कहूँगा आपके सामने। मुझे 10 मिनट दिए, मैं जल्दी ख़त्म करूँगा, जिसमें अनिल जी उसमें से कुछ और समय निकाल सकें, इसलिए SMS। बशेरकर जी ने गांधी जी के परिचय में बहुत सारी बातें बताई। एक शब्द में उनकी इजाज़त से और जोड़ना चाहूँगा, जो आज का विषय है हमारा। गांधी जी अपने आप में एक इनोवेशन थे, जो नेचर ने हमको दी है पिछले। इसलिए आज का ये शीर्षक बहुत फिट बैठता है कि गांधी जी को हम एक इनोवेशन की तरह भी याद करें और फिर इनोवेटर कौन है उनके बारे में भी चर्चा करें। गांधी जी का एक प्रिय भजन है, नरसिंह मेहता जी का लिखा हुआ, आप सबने कई बार सुना होगा क्योंकि वो तो 2 अक्टूबर 30 जनवरी जब भी मौका लगता है उसका रिकॉर्ड घिसता ही नहीं है। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने है। इसमें 2 शब्दों पे ध्यान दीजिए। दूसरे की पीर कोई समझता है वो भगवान का बेटा है। वैष्णव जन तो वो है। अपनी पीर में से मैं कुछ निकालूं तो वो बहुत अच्छी इनोवेशन नहीं होती। दूसरे की पीर जब मुझे दिखती है, दूसरे की तकलीफ दिखती है, तो मैं कुछ शायद ज्यादा बड़ा काम करके दिखाता हूँ। इसलिए इसमें दूसरे की पीर पे ज्यादा जोर है और हमारे सामने जो अच्छे इनोवेशंस हुए हैं उसमें दूसरों की पीर की बहुत गुंजाइश है। जी,
I would like to add one word more in the introduction of the great Gandhi, in addition to whatever Dr. Pitroda said. Gandhi himself was an innovation, and only when we understand his life as an innovation, we will be able to appreciate the discussion on innovation. One of his favorite prayers implied that only those who understand the pain of others are really qualified to be the son of the God. And without understanding the pain of others, we really, truly speaking, cannot develop the innovations there.
जी, थोड़ा और संक्षेप में आगे चले तो इनोवेशन 2 तरह के होते हैं। एक तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, यंत्र है, उनके बारे में मैं आज आपका समय नहीं बर्बाद करूंगा। दूसरा इनोवेशन होता है विचार का, आइडिया का। आइडिया का इनोवेशन समाज में बहुत दूर तक जाता है, उसमें सस्टेनेबिलिटी रहती है। वो 5 साल के लिए नहीं बनता, वो 500 साल के लिए बनता है, 1000 साल के लिए बनता है। और संस्था जो समाज की है वो उसको अपनाकर बहुत दूर तक ले जाती है। मैं आपके सामने वैसे 3 इनोवेशन रखने की कोशिश करूँगा।
The instrumental view of innovation is not what I am going to talk about today. I will talk about the ideational view of innovation, which essentially takes us very far. The society does not plan when it solves problems for only a few years, it solves them 500 years, 1000 years. And truly speaking, the institutionalization, the sustainability of the ideas get institutionalized when society takes it over and plans it in the far future. So I will not therefore focus more on the instrumental view of innovation, I will focus on the ideational view of innovation.
पहला उदाहरण आपको डेजर्ट ले चलूंगा, रेगिस्तान। हमारा रेगिस्तान दुनिया के और रेगिस्तानों से अलग है, बहुत लोग रहते हैं इसमें और जगह आबादी कम होती है। इसमें एक शब्द है और एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है जो इनोवेशन है, उसका नाम है ओरन, जो संस्कृत के अरण्य से निकला है, बिगड़कर। अरण्य यानी जंगल, डेजर्ट में जंगल, ये अपने आप में बड़ा कंट्रडिक्शन लगता है कि जहाँ पर एक छोटा सा घास का तिनका भी पैदा नहीं हो सकता, वहाँ पर जंगल कौन लगाने जाएगा।
I would like to begin with first example of a desert. And what is interesting is that in our country, unlike many other deserts, a lot of people live in the desert. And there is an institution there which is called Oran. Oran actually derives its name from forest. Now it's amazing that somebody should talk about growing forest in the desert, but this is exactly what I am going to talk about.
हमारा जो वन विभाग है, जिसको हम अंग्रेजों के समय से जानते हैं, उसका उम्र अभी 150-60 साल से ज़्यादा नहीं है। लेकिन ओरन इनोवेशन एक ऐसा है जिसकी सबसे पुरानी उदाहरण अगर हमने कोई देखा होगा तो वो करीब 1100 साल पुराना है।
Our forest department is not more than maybe 150 to 160 years old, but the oldest Oran that I have studied actually dates back to 1100 years.
125 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर में पाकिस्तान की बॉर्डर पर बाड़मेर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में है, चौटन डिस्ट्रिक्ट में। ओरन हमेशा एक देवी के नाम पर छोड़ा जाता है, अरण्य जो संस्कृत का शब्द है। इसमें कोई फॉरेस्ट गार्ड नहीं, कोई वन विभाग नहीं, कोई सेंट्रल बजट नहीं, कोई स्टेट बजट नहीं, ग्रांट नहीं, सब्सिडी नहीं, लेकिन आपको बिल्कुल हार्ट ऑफ डेजर्ट में एक ग्रीन जंगल दिखाई देगा। और उसका सामाजिक उपयोग ये है कि जब कभी अकाल पड़ेगा तो देवी की एक विशेष पूजा करके उस ओरन को खोल दिया जाएगा। ये जिस ओरन का मैं उदाहरण दे रहा हूँ उसका नाम है बांकल देवी का ओरन, और इसमें 29 गांव इसमें शरण ले सकते हैं डेजर्ट के ड्राउट के पीरियड में। ड्राउट जब नहीं है तो उस ओरन में कोई नहीं जाता, न उसमें से पत्ता चुराता है, न लकड़ी चुराता है, कोई फॉरेस्ट गार्ड नहीं है, डीएफओ नहीं है, चीफ कंजर्वेटर ऑफ फॉरेस्ट नहीं है, और पूरा फॉरेस्ट खड़ा है। लोगों को मालूम है कि ये उनके लिए है, फिक्स डिपॉजिट की तरह है, करंट अकाउंट नहीं है। जब ड्राउट आएगा तब इसको देवी की अनुमति के बाद खोलना है।
Let me talk to you about an Oran which is about 125 square kilometers near Barmer, Rajasthan border. Nobody protects it. There is no authority to take care of this land. There is no institution, formal institution responsible for it. There is no grant, there is no budget for it. And the importance of this Oran is that when there is a famine, there is a drought, there is a famine, only then after praying to the Gandhi Devi, a goddess to whom this Oran is dedicated, will it be open for people to go and draw the biomass from there. Otherwise, there will not be any entry in this land, though there is no fence, there is no protection, there is no guard, and there is nobody to regulate the entry and exit to this place. In the desert, this land is therefore remains as a testimony of the devotion that people have towards the cause of conservation. It is not like a current account which you can keep on debiting as and when you have a deficit in your account. It is like a fixed deposit for a long-term future and sustainability of the society.
तो 1100 साल से समाज ने एक अपना जंगल पाल के रखा है बिना कोई नारेबाजी के। कोई किताब नहीं, कोई एनुअल रिपोर्ट नहीं, कोई फोटो नहीं उसके, किसी से ग्रांट नहीं, और इस पे काम चलाना। दूसरा उदाहरण मैं आपको दूंगा डेजर्ट में से ही पानी के बारे में, जहाँ सैलिनिटी पूरी की पूरी है। कोई भी अच्छे से अच्छा हमारा आधुनिक पानी डिलीवरी का सिस्टम जैसे हैंडपम्प्स है, डीप ट्यूबवेल्स हैं, अगर वो लगेंगे तो केवल खारा पानी देंगे। लेकिन इस इलाके में शायद 1500 साल पहले एक इनोवेशन हुआ, उसका नाम है कुई या बेरी।
Next example I will take is about water. In a region which is completely saline, how do you conserve drinkable water? There are no hand pumps, there is no other means of extracting water. And about 1500 years ago, with the name of Berry or Kui, this institution evolved to conserve water for people to meet their drinking needs in desert.
कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सिस्टम लगता है जब हम लोग आपस में बात करते हैं। दिल्ली बम्बई के लोग, गांव के लोगों के लिए वो बिल्कुल सरल तरीका है। कहीं नीचे 40 फुट, 50 फुट, 60 फुट पर जिप्सम का एक बेल्ट चलता है जो इम्परवियस होता है। ऊपर 3 इंच पानी गिराती है नेचर। एनुअल बजट रेनफॉल 3 इंच से 6 इंच है उस इलाके का। उसमें वो मॉइस्चर की तरह वहाँ जाके रुक जाता है। उस मॉइस्चर को अगर आप निचोड़ कर पानी में कन्वर्ट करना चाहें तो वो कुई और बेरी करती है। इस तरह से जैसे इस रुमाल में अगर आप आधा गिलास पानी डालेंगे और बाद में स्क्विज करेंगे तो आपको पानी मिल जाएगा। तो पूरी सैलिनिटी के बीच में इस जिप्सम बेल्ट को लोग खोजना जानते हैं और उसके ऊपर कुई बना के मीठा पानी लेते हैं। अनिल भाई ने कहा कि वहाँ हैंडपम्प नहीं है, उसको मैं करेक्ट कर दूँ। हैंडपम्प लगा दीजिए, वो पानी पी नहीं सकते क्योंकि वो ग्राउंड वाटर तक जाएगा, वो सैंड की मॉइस्चर को पानी में कन्वर्ट नहीं करेगा। ये जो कुई है वो मॉइस्चर को पानी में कन्वर्ट करती है और इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में कन्वर्ट करती है कि 1000 भेड़ें आप उसमें से रोज पानी पिला सकते हैं।
What is remarkable about the institution that I am going to describe next is about a place where there is an impervious layer of gypsum underground. Rainfall is hardly 3 to 6 inches. Now, when the little rain falls, it is conserved as a moisture in the layer of the soil, and that becomes available as water in the kui or berry as the system goes. This is an extraordinary institution because if you would imagine such a small amount of rain, it can easily evaporate or it can easily dissipate. People know the locations where such possibilities exist, and they construct these water conservation structures only in those locations where there is an underground gypsum layer, impervious gypsum layer. It has been there for about 1000 years.
जी
1000 years this institution has been around.
और पिछले 100 साल में इसमें कुछ थोड़ा सा इरोजन हुआ था क्योंकि हमारे नए लोगों ने कहा कि हम आपको नए किस्म से पानी ला के देंगे, हैंडपम्प लगाएंगे, ट्यूबवेल लगाएंगे, नहर का पानी लाएंगे। ये सब देखकर जब वो फेल हुआ है नया सिस्टम, तो लोगों ने नई बेरी बनाना शुरू किया है। जो परंपरा उनकी टूट गई थी वो अब कम से कम 400 नई बेरी उस इलाके में फिर से बनी है। कोई भूला नहीं था, सोशल मेमोरी में वो दर्ज था कि बेरी ऐसी बनाई जाती है।
100 years ago there was an effort to bypass these institutions and bring in new ways of collecting water, whether through pipeline or through hand pump or through tube. But when these institutions, the modern institutions did not work, people realized that they had to go back to berry. So they have constructed about 400 such berries in this place now, where people conserve water from it by using the traditional method and they are meeting their needs.
एक आखिरी उदाहरण मैं फिर से डेजर्ट से दूंगा। वो एक खास तरह का खेत है, एग्रीकल्चर फील्ड, बहुत ही स्पेशल फील्ड है, जहाँ जिप्सम बेल्ट 10 फुट पर ऊपर उठ के आ जाता है। वहाँ इतना पानी कंजर्व नहीं कर सकते, मॉइस्चर कम हो जाएगा क्योंकि जितना डीप होगा जिप्सम उतना मॉइस्चर होगा। तो इस 10 फुट के मॉइस्चर को अगर आप पानी में कन्वर्ट करेंगे तो हो सकता है 15 दिन का पानी मिले। इसमें समाज अपनी बर्बादी नहीं करता, रिसोर्सेज की, अपनी मेहनत की, उसने उसको खेतों में कन्वर्ट किया है। और किसी भी अच्छे एग्रीकल्चर साइंटिस्ट से अगर आप पूछेंगे, आज कोई बैठे होंगे यहाँ, कि क्या 3 इंच के रेनफॉल में वीट ग्रो कर सकते हो, गेहूं पैदा कर सकते हो, वो कहेगा ये पागल आदमी, 20 इंच से कम में गेहूं नहीं होता। 3 इंच में वो गेहूं पैदा करते हैं उसी मॉइस्चर को रूट जोन को देकर। और इस खेत का इतना स्पेशल स्टेटस होता है कि कि हमारे जितने समाजवादी नारे हैं उसमें वो उसकी कंपोस्ट की खाद बनाते हैं। उन्होंने गांधी का नाम नहीं सुना, लेकिन खटीन कहीं ना कहीं बहुत छोटी जगह पर होगा, शायद पूरे जैसलमेर में 300 स्पेशल खेत हैं ऐसे, उसको उन्होंने कलेक्टिव फार्मिंग में बदला। कलेक्टिव फार्मिंग हम रूस में जानते हैं, इजराइल में जानते हैं, लेकिन कभी कोई कहेगा जैसलमेर में है, हमको नहीं पता। हमारी काजरी जैसी इंस्टीट्यूशंस भी उस मामले में अभी तक भीतर नहीं पहुंच पाई हैं। इन खेतों में जितने लोग अगल बगल रहते हैं उसमें न जात देखी जाती, न धर्म देखा जाता है, वो उसके मेंबर होते हैं, सब लोग मिलके काम करते हैं, सब लोगों को वो अनाज एक साथ बढ़ता है। ऐसी कलेक्टिव फार्मिंग सर्वोदय में, गांधी विचार में, संस्थाओं में भी आके फेल हो गई होगी, लेकिन डेजर्ट में अभी तक फेल नहीं हुई है।
Next, I want to share with you an institution in the form of a conservation farm. With the rainfall of hardly 3 inches in Jaisalmer, this institution is called Khadins. What happens is that if you have 10 feet lower layer of gypsum, then obviously the moisture in this vertical column of soil will be very difficult to harness. You won't get much. So people don't try to extract this moisture in the form of water. What they do is instead, they grow crops in the conserved moisture with hardly 3 inches of rainfall. With the understanding that the root moisture will be available in the root zone, nobody would believe that you can grow wheat in less than 20 inches of rainfall. But here, people are able to grow wheat with 3 inches of rainfall by ensuring that the moisture is available in the root zone. There are special kinds of fields which are manured and have been therefore managed so well. Even the Kazari, which is essentially a central arid zone research institute, and other research institutions may not be able to really provide the rationale for such kind of institutions. People who live near these farms share this land and collectively grow crops and collectively harvest these crops. Why people must have heard about collective farms in Russia and Israel, but this is a very different institution. And in fact, in the cases where social movement like Sarvodaya and others failed to mobilize collective will, this institution has succeeded in harnessing collective will of the people and provide food for people in conditions which are very, very precarious.
आखिरी बात बिल्कुल छोटी सी, गांधी जी ने 1909 में जो किताब लिखी हिंद स्वराज, आप सब लोगों ने उसको पढ़ा होगा, उसका नाम जानते हैं। उसमें एक जगह उन्होंने कहा है कि जो मैल है वो सागर के किनारे पर है, जो गंदगी दिखती है हमको अपने समाज में, जो दोष दिखते हैं वो हमारे आपस के बीच के हैं। इस सागर में थोड़ा भीतर जाइए, इस समाज में थोड़ा गहरे जाइए तो बहुत ही निर्मल जल मिलता है, निर्मल विचार मिलते हैं, निर्मल इनोवेशन मिलते हैं। धन्यवाद।
I wish I could say that as beautifully as you have said, but I will try. Those of you who have read the book by Gandhiji written in 1909 called Hind Swaraj, what he said was that the waste, the trash that you find is always on the shore of the sea. You go deeper in the sea and you will find clean water. If you want to understand the innovative spirit of common people, you have to go deeper in the society. And if you go deeper in the society, you will get the true spirit of the people, which is what has described the institution that I shared with you. Thank you.
Friends, good afternoon. I'm a hardcore engineer who know a little bit about bits and bytes, and I've been asked to speak on Gandhi. It is not perhaps appropriate. I don't think I'm really qualified. But I'm going to make an attempt based on whatever little I learned when I was a little kid. I remember when Gandhiji died, I was sitting in front of our house. My father came in and said, Gandhiji has died. Immediately, all of us in the family had to take a bath, as if somebody in family had died. This is Indian tradition. We all grew up in a Gujarati family, in a small little tribal village in Orissa, where there was no electricity, no water, no doctor, no nurse, no department store, no school, nothing. And the only connection we all had with Gujarat, where my parents came from, was Gandhi. So we were brought up thinking of Gandhi as the role model, as someone who was very much part of your family. And everything you did had to be essentially approved by him, consciously, unconsciously. I believe Gandhi was the greatest social innovator of the 21st century. I believe he was one of the greatest communicators of the 20th century. He invented non-violence at the time of World War. He focused on freedom when the world was colonized. He talked about global freedom when everybody else were busy drawing boundaries around nations. He wore no uniforms, had no title, never was part of the government, didn't have any management training, but he led the greatest movement ever. It is unfortunate that Gandhi is forgotten, especially in India. We hang Gandhi's picture on top of the wall, and every once in a while look around and go around doing what we are supposed to do on a day-to-day basis. Like Dr. Masarkar said, Gandhi means different things to different people. To me, he meant truth and absolute truth, which is very hard to practice. He meant simplicity, self-reliance, equity, equality, love for all human beings, sense of sacrifice, and focus on rural development and underprivileged. All of these are very simple concepts, but very difficult to digest in this day and age. So when we lost Gandhi, we essentially lost Gandhi's wisdom. The world went on to focus on a model of development which was non-Gandhian. A model of development which focused on economy, growth, more and more and more, knowing that technology has given us a lot of benefits in terms of longevity, infant mortality, better transport, better communication, we still have major problems related to poverty, hunger, security, environmental blunders. And I find roots in moving away from Gandhian thinking. I've been saying this for the last 25 years, that the best brains in the world are busy solving problems of the rich, who don't have problems to solve. And as a result, problems of the poor really don't get the right kind of talent. Only Gandhian thought can focus best talent to solve the problems of the poor. 50 years down the road, we find that we are lost. There is global financial crisis. The model that we are promoting based on consumption is not scalable, sustainable, desirable, or workable, especially when you have 3 billion more people who want the same thing. That model was okay when 250 million in US and few hundred million in Europe could get most of the world resources and build prosperity for very few at the top. Now that you have a billion from India, a billion from China, a billion from former Soviet Union, looking for same prosperity, it is hard to deliver through this model of consumption. I'll give you one example, and I give this example quite often. I have a friend in the US who after 15 years decided to come to India and wanted to get a gift for his father. Thought a great deal, and finally decided to buy a gift. Came home, met his father after 15 years, and he said, "Dad, after giving lot of thoughts, I have a gift for you." He said, "I have a nice white cotton shirt." So his father got a little bit mad at him, saying, "Why?" He said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "I have one shirt that I wear, I have one that I wash, and I have one in spare." He said, "Why would I need 4 shirts?" He said, "I just can't think of it." Then he says, "Now that you bought it, give it to your uncle." It is that thought process of simplicity, sort of contentment, that I'm okay with 3 shirts. I think that is what we have lost in this world. There is a saying in America which says, if you are smart, how come you are not rich? Everybody wants to be smart. And as a result, everyone wants to be rich. And there is no limit to the richness. I think Gandhi makes a lot of sense today. Gandhi makes a lot of sense because the world conflicts are always rooted in inequality. I said this morning that I was with Simon Perez, and he said, "Mr. Pitroda, the real conflict in Arab world is all about development, poverty, and inequality. It is then manifested into religious and other forms. But the bottom line is, small number of people are very well off and large number of people are not quite well off. We see that in our own country. And Gandhi would have always focused on different kind of development. Just to give you one idea, truth and trust. Take these 2 words. If you really create a world where people believe in truth and trust, what will happen to banks? What will happen to lawyers? What will happen to all the judges? I mean, in my business, every day we go through non-disclosure agreements, 10 pages long, contracts, MOUs, agreements. All of these things say, "I don't trust you. You will lie to me. What you say is not what you are going to do." If you just take these 2 words from Gandhi, you'll create a whole new world. Lawyers will not have job. That's a secondary issue. But look at the power of simple ideas. In business, it is all about mistrust. And it is all about not giving facts. You know, when this WikiLeaks was in the media, I had a television discussion or some show with Michael Dell. So somebody asked me a question saying, "Mr. Pitroda, what do you think of WikiLeaks?" I said, WikiLeaks is all about the fight between old and new. It is all about hypocrisy and facts. If public standards and private standards are same, you have no issues. That's what Gandhi was all about. Gandhi's public standards and private standards were exactly the same. What he said is what he meant, and what he meant is what he said. Today, very few really mean what they say and say what they mean. It became a huge problem because what people said in private was very different from what people say in public. In this information age, you are not going to be able to get everything anymore. So Gandhi is more relevant today because of IT, to me. Information technology brings about openness, accessibility, connectivity, networking, democratization. All of these are Gandhian ideas. Gandhi was always open, always accessible. His dream of rural development in India could not be realized because I believe he was too far ahead of his time. Today, it is possible to deliver development of the kind he visualized using IT. Rural India can be the back office of urban India. If rural India is the back office of urban India, income level in rural India can be increased substantially. If incomes can be increased substantially, you don't need to move out. So it's not about markets at the bottom of the pyramid, economic pyramid. Dr. Gupta taught me something today, that when you say bottom of the pyramid, think of economic bottom of the pyramid. Because bottom of the pyramid not necessarily imply bottom in terms of ideas, culture, ethics. So I think bottom of the pyramid is more about creating better income for rural India. And all of the Gandhian values make a lot of sense today. If we were to redesign the world, because the way the world is today, not sustainable, guaranteed. No matter what we do, everybody cannot have 2 cars. Can you imagine all Chinese having 1 car each? Or all Indians having 1 car each? What will happen to this world? But that's where everybody is headed. Because Americans all have 1 car, everybody should have 1 car each. Phone, maybe you can live with it. But cars, I don't think you can. So the American model of consumption is something we need to really re-examine for the rest of the world. Those who have it, okay, more power to them. But you can't have that model for everybody. And that's where I think there's a need to redesign thinking today. We believe 550 million young in India, with the power of information technology, focus on democratization of information, will help us in redesigning India. And if we redesign India properly, I believe we will also help redesign the world. And that is the future we see. But in this process, I hope that our young also keep Gandhi in focus. Our young Indians learn the basic values of sense of sacrifice, truth and absolute truth, simplicity. To be Gandhian, you don't need to be wearing Indian clothes. I remember about 25 years ago, I gave a convocation speech in Calcutta at IIM. And I said, as far as I'm concerned, you could wear jeans and drink scotch and still be Gandhian. And there were headlines in the paper next day. Pitroda said, Gandhi drank scotch and wore jeans. Our great Indian media is always very creative. So then all of a sudden, hundreds of Gandhians all got together, wrote a letter to Prime Minister and President of India that Pitroda must apologize in public. So I get a call from Prime Minister's office. saying, what is this? You have to apologize in public. I said, no, I'm not apologizing. I still believe that you could wear jean, drink scotch, and be Gandhian. It is the spirit of Gandhi. It is the values that Gandhi talks about. It is not how you dress. And I believe each one of us has a little bit of Gandhi in us. Each one of us really wants to do a good job. Nobody wants to be corrupt. Nobody wants to lie. Nobody wants to show off. But somehow we wind up doing it, knowingly, unknowingly. I think if we go deeper inside and search to redesign ourselves and innovate, it is about innovating yourself. You will find that the best model you can find in this world is Gandhian model. Thank you.
Well, we have had absolutely fabulous talks, very thought-provoking, getting to the fundamentals, and finally the issue of redesign. Redesign of one's mindsets, to think of Gandhian philosophy and not just think, act. I think that's the big challenge. We'll begin a dialogue now, discussion. I would request you to state your name and affiliation so that we all know who it is who is asking the question, number one. Number two, be brief so that as many people as possible can participate. Three, it could be a question, but it could be a comment also. But if it is a comment also, please be brief so that we make the most out of the time that we have, getting more from less, for more and more people. Let us keep on reviewing this principle. So may I open the dialogue and the first comment question?
My name is Adisham Goyal. I am National Council member of Institute of Engineers. Engineers hated in this country, that's why I belong to this fraternity. Friends, these are two orations and president's letters by Dr. Mashelkar, which are unparalleled to be heard of. Firstly, I congratulate the great speakers. I am a great admirer of all the three. I know them since long. My question today is, it is very right that traditional water harvesting structures are very, very important. We must conserve every drop of water. We should have sustainable consumption as well. But the kind of population we have, the kind of vagaries of monsoon we have, the kind of variability of time and space we have, it may rain, create cyclone and floods, it may not rain, may have droughts for 3 years. Would Gandhi not have supported today interlinking of rivers and interbasin transfer of water from flood to drought areas? I don't know. Why are we opposing each and every scheme? Thermal is okay, nuclear is okay, solar is okay, but hydropower is not sustainable according to people. And is environment not a science or engineering? But environment has become a style. There are few people who don't understand science and engineering, they oppose everything.
Can we
and particularly dams and hydropower.
Can we have the question? Or is it just a comment? Yeah. पानी के बारे में बात करें।
I think this question is all about the linking rivers in India
Yeah.
and the environmental implications. I think the project that has been discussed for the last 40 years is very complex. No one really understands the implication of it because we just don't have a good way to model it. I had a series of discussions on this with Dr. Abdul Kalam. He and I spent almost a day on it. We called Dastur and Company, Mr. Dastur, and talked to him. We reviewed all of the drawings. I don't think we really know enough about it. Nobody can say, if you do this, 40 years down the road, 10 years down the road, these are the implications. I'm not knowledgeable. You need to ask the water expert, but I'm interested in it. If somebody can show us through good modeling that linking rivers in India on that scale will not have long-term environmental implication, I think it's a good thing to do, but we don't know.
So people are not allowed a single day of standing high today.
We don't know.
People are going each and everything.
Possible.
As regards water and hydropower.
Right, shall we move on? Again, I remind you, the public lecture was on Gandhi and the discourse is on Gandhi and social innovation. Please.
My name is Sanjeev. I'm from IT industry. My name is Sanjeev Dubey. I'm from IT industry. I just want to put a question to Mr. Pitroda that how do we promote the reuse of IT assets? Because technology keeps innovating, something new keeps coming, and the people who can afford, they will always go for something new. How do we make sure that those technology which is discarded, right now it is thrown in the garbage, whether it is software or hardware, if it goes to the second tier, third tier, fourth tier, and all Indians are very innovative, it will promote a lot of technology used to the masses.
You should create a new business out of it. You should create new business out of it. It's a great business opportunity for you to figure out the process. There is a best solution.
Yeah, somebody up there.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम बसंत है। मैं एक निवेदन करना चाह रहा हूँ कि आज निर्णय प्रक्रिया में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाने वाले डैश पर 2 लोग तो हैं और 2 लोग उस तरह के काम की खोज में भी लगे हैं। मैं बुनकर और कारीगर के बीच काम कर रहा हूँ। गांधी कहा करते थे, अगर मैं कवि होता तो उंगलियों की संभावनाओं पर कविता लिखता। करीब 2.5 करोड़ ऐसे परिवार हैं बुनकर और कारीगरों के। 100 तरह से ऊपर की कारीगरी है, चाहे वो सुनारी हो, बढ़ेतरी हो, लोहारी हो। न तो CSIR की तरफ से 150 साइंटिस्ट इसमें काम कर रहे हैं, न कोई IIT में इस तरह के लोग हम सबको मिल रहे हैं। एक काती से अगर कोई बांस का काम 50 साल 100 साल से चल रहा है तो हम ये देखते हैं NG राव छोड़ के और कोई इस तरह के मुझे साइंटिस्ट नहीं मिलते, और न इस तरह की पढ़ाई में कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है। आज तो हमारे यहाँ की गणपति और इस तरह की मूर्तियाँ भी बाहर से आ रही हैं। और 4 दिन पहले जब हम ये पत्थर की कटाई को देखने जयपुर गए तो वहाँ जितनी मशीन हमको दिखी वह कोई देश में बनता हुआ नहीं दिखा, जो भी लाया गया था बाहर से। तो ये गांधीयन सोशल इनोवेशन की बात है। तो क्या इस तरह से कोई विश्वविद्यालय का निर्माण नहीं हो सकता इस देश में, जो 2.5 करोड़ परिवार अपने आप का इनोवेशन करके, जो माननीय अनुपम भाई ने उदाहरण दिए, तो इस तरह की श्रृंखला को क्या आगे नहीं बढ़ाया जा सकता है? और क्या गांधी की वह पंक्ति कि उंगलियों की संभावनाओं पर कविता लिखता, जिसको कि अनुपम भाई कहे कि वैष्णव जन तो तेने कही के पीर पढ़ाई जाने दें, तो ये कब पीर को, जो सामूहिक पीर है, उसको कब मुखर होके हम सब देख सकते हैं? धन्यवाद।
The question is that I will just briefly state it, that there are millions of weavers and artisans in this country who face tremendous problem in the productive. Why is it that the instruments that they use have not undergone innovation, have not been improvised by the science and technology institutions? What kind of education system we have that does not focus on the needs of such a large big community? Unless we realize the collective pain, perhaps we will not be able to do justice to them. And therefore, is there a scope for a university of a new kind to be created which will absorb, assimilate the Gandhian values and address the concerns of these millions of people?
Let me try to sort of address this. We have been talking about this for at least 10 years. I have had maybe 20 meetings with people like Rajiv Sethi, Kapila Vatswa. I just had a meeting last week with 2 groups, met with Ashok Chatterjee. These are all the leading people who worry about artisans. 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with Vishwakarmas because I am one of the Vishwakarmas. I am a son of a carpenter. So I know that lots of these artists who work with their hand are part of unorganized sector. And government does not pay attention to unorganized sector. They are not unionized. They are not part of an organized. So we really first don't have good data. Somebody says we have 40 million people who are in this category. We don't know. So we have finally decided, Gopal, who works with me, and he was with PMO earlier, we have decided to call a first meeting of these 8-10 different groups in January. We have these people already working on it. I had a conversation on this with Prime Minister. I personally met Minister of Culture. Everyone is sensitized, nobody knows what to do. So I guarantee next year we will do something on this, because it's on my head now. And Gopal and I just talked about it a few days ago. So we are concerned about them. We agree that we are losing this trade, where children are going to colleges and getting degrees and wants to go into office to do clerical work, and we are losing this great tradition. We have huge asset in our artisan, handicraft, and we need to build on it. We're going to do that. Keep reminding us.
Yes, next. Yep. Please state your name and affiliation.
I am Mehrotra, R.S. Mehrotra. I am the president of a society. There are two basic values of Gandhian principles, Satya or Ahimsa, truthfulness and non-violence. How far is these two principles relevant to today's condition in the country, and how can we make it more relevant? Thank you.
जी मैं तो खड़े होकर बोलता हूँ। मैंने सोचा कि आपने दो बातें रखी। मैं आपसे निवेदन करता हूँ कि सत्य और अहिंसा की अगर जरूरत नहीं है तो इसको आज ही से भुला दीजिए, फिर देखिए क्या होता है। कई लोगों ने भुलाया है, उसके नतीजे हमारे सामने हैं। अभी ये शायद 2-4% लोग सत्य और अहिंसा को भुला के दिखा रहे हैं। 24/7 के सारे चैनल उन्हीं की खबरों से भरे पड़े। हम और आप भी भूल जाएंगे, मन में ऐसा संशय रखेंगे कि इन दो शब्दों की क्या जरूरत है, ये रेलेवेंट है कि नहीं है। तो ये चैनल्स भी कम पड़ेंगे। कभी खबर को टीवी से 3D होके बाहर गिरने लगेंगे आपके रैंक में। इसलिए ये दो शाश्वत मूल्य हैं, इनके बारे में मन में ऐसा प्रश्न मत रखिए, ऐसा संशय नहीं रखिए कि ये रेलेवेंट है कि नहीं। इन्हीं पे दुनिया टिकी हो अभी।
The truth and non-violence are two eternal principles which are the fulcrum on which the whole world rests. Never develop a doubt about these. In fact, it is tragic that a small percentage of people who are involved in untruth and are involved in violence occupy the most of the time on the television channels. But that is a passing phase. Eventually, I think society will realize the value of these two values, and most of the people still abide by them, and therefore they cannot be forgotten.
My question is for Mr. Pitroda.
Can you speak?
I can speak now. My question is for Mr. Pitroda. I'm Amit Agnihotri. I'm a correspondent with Indo-Asian News Service. It's a news agency. My question is for Mr. Pitroda. Do you think you've been part of the government system for long years? Do you think there is enough space for innovation in the bureaucracy and the political leadership that this country has witnessed? The context here is that you said IT can bring a lot of transparency and openness in society, in government, but then this country has witnessed recently allegations of the largest corruption scandal in the allocation of 2G spectrum, the largest ever this country has witnessed. That is very, very closely related to the sector that you unleashed, and it is also related to the use of IT in the technical space. Your comments.
I think governments all over the world will have no options but to open up. Governments all over the world recognize today that democratization of information is around the corner. More people want to know more about how government works. You can hold on to the confidential information for a while, but it's not going to last for too long. So whether 2G scam, no 2G scam, in the history of a nation, it is irrelevant.